If you two have convinced yourselves that you finally got to go out on your own terms, and now you're at peace with how your careers ended, then so be it. If you want to tell yourself that, and you can convince yourself of that, great. But to me and plenty of others, what that was really was a circus and a cash grab and a spectacle. And frankly, you did play everybody. It worked. You played everybody. Y'all got over. Y'all got the outcome you were personally looking for. Big paychecks, one final night on the big stage, and neither was seriously hurt. So good for you. Good for you for getting over and feeling like you have finally righted a wrong. For feeling like you got that great ending that you felt like you deserved after feeling the sport had failed you and turned its back on you. Just know that nobody else was really satisfied by that. Again, you spent more time hugging each other after the fight than you did actually fighting each other during the fight. And don't act like that was for the fans, because you gave the fans nothing. That was for both of you individually. And I do have to tip my hat to both of you. You worked the system beautifully. You gamed the system. Fine. I accept that. Just don't act like that was anything other than what it was. A cash grab and a circus. Like, if Ronda came out of retirement and beat an active, dangerous, highly ranked opponent, that would be something altogether different. But she beat someone who had not fought in 17 years and had to lose 100 pounds to even get into the cage for that 17-second fight. And then she didn't seem that upset about it when she lost. Look, I'm not opposed to going to the circus. The circus can be fun. You see all sorts of freakery and oddities at the circus. Just don't tell me that was anything other than a circus. Stop throwing off this vibe of, are you not entertained? You're welcome. No, we're not entertained.
Welcome.
And we're not thanking you for beating Gina in 17 seconds, 17 years after her last fight. I don't know who you're trying to convince with that, but you two are way happier with that outcome than any of us, and the promotion, and Netflix. But in terms of the people who you think should be thanking you, they're not, nor should they.
Okay, so we are just a few days removed from the Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano fight. And going into this fight, the card itself, I actually was surprised who was fighting on the card. I thought it would just be a bunch of fighters that I have never heard of before, and you probably get some YouTubers or some basketball players fighting on the card, I don't know. But I actually cared about this card, really from a fan perspective, a fan favorite. I like Francis Ngannou. That was the fight that I really cared about. And when I tuned into the fight on Netflix, I just so happened to catch Francis Ngannou fighting the other guy. So I saw that live, and he knocked him out in the first round. And I meant to talk about this a few days ago, but I've been under the weather. If you can't tell, I sound a little stuffy. So my boy Francis won in knockout fashion. I thought the dude started to play with fire when he disengaged from Francis, when he stopped trying to wrestle him and put him up against the cage. When he let go and said, I'm going to start swinging for the fences. You're playing with fire, dog. And sure enough, he did. He took one on the side of the head, out cold. And then Nate Diaz got pummeled. I cared about that fight too because I like Nate Diaz. I always liked the Nate Diaz brothers. But Nate Diaz got destroyed, took a beating from Mike Perry. Mike Perry looked, first of all, he's a warrior. Alright, UFC, bare knuckle fighting, and he's still going strong. And watching him and Nate fight, it seemed as if Mike Perry sort of sipped from the fountain of youth. He looked like a totally different, rejuvenated fighter, while as Nate, it looked like his age was showing. But after the fight, Ariel Helwani was doing the post-fight press conferences, was doing the post-fight interviews, which I thought were a little long. It made me appreciate the quick post-fight interviews that the UFC does. Like, speed this shit up. And Jake Paul was involved. I didn't know that he was involved in this card. And a couple times, Jake would be asked, would you fight so-and-so? Would you fight Francis Ngannou? Apparently he's been talking shit to Francis, saying that he'll fight him in an MMA fight, which will never happen, okay? I'm sure Jake has a lot of yes men around him, but that's something that they can't say yes to. Francis Ngannou would kill Jake Paul. He would punch a hole through Jake Paul's torso. That is not a fight that is going to happen, okay? And then he was talking shit to Mike Perry. They got into it after the Nate Diaz fight a little bit. Jake said, "That's true, you got me, but you see what I did to Nate Diaz just now? You don't want that shit." And then we get to the main event. Ronda Rousey versus Gina Carano. You know, let me see if I'm saying her name right. I'm pretty sure it's Gina. Yeah, Gina Carano. Now, I had never heard of this woman before, but apparently she was like a legend in the MMA world. When I Googled her, she played a role in Deadpool. And I said, oh, that's who that is? Really? That was her? Good looking woman though. Beautiful woman. And she got taken down by Ronda Rousey. Blowing my nose. Alright, I'm back. She got taken down by Ronda Rousey in 17 seconds. Made her tap via armbar. That was her trademark finishing move when she was on top of the world. Once it was over, I was thinking to myself, people are not going to be happy. And sure enough, that was the case. I immediately went on Twitter, and it was called X, but I still call it Twitter. Went on Twitter, saw that people were saying that it's rigged. It was a joke, cash cow. I wasted my time to watch this fight. I feel foolish that I wasted my time. They got us, they got me. So, safe to say that this doesn't really reshape Ronda Rousey's legacy in a lot of people's eyes in a positive way. People will still remember the fact that she got blasted by a leg kick by Holly Holm. She got blasted with bombs by Amanda Nunes, which I thought was the worst loss that I have seen her take. By the way, I picked Amanda Nunes to beat her, but at the time I picked her to dethrone Ronda Rousey as the champion. So the more I think about this fight, I don't think it was rigged, although when it comes to people saying that sports are rigged and fights are rigged, I totally get where people are coming from, and I get why people are saying that about this fight. So I'm not necessarily disagreeing with the whole rigged comments. I get it. I just look at it from a standpoint of that Ronda Rousey wasn't known for her striking, and Gina, she hadn't fought in 17 years. I did not know that. Once she said that to Ariel after the fight, 17 damn years, and then she had to lose 100 pounds to get in fighting shape to make the weigh-in. So she's already at a huge disadvantage. 17 freaking years. If I had known that, I probably would have predicted that the fight would have been over in a few seconds myself. So Ronda clearly knew this. So she said, I'm going to stick to my bread and butter. I'm going to take her down, and I'm going to submit her. And that's what she did. All in all, was the card good? I mean, the only fight that I really cared about was Francis. And of course, John Jones was there. He entertained that. John Jones was saying that he's got to get things cleared up with the UFC and figure out things with his contract. Hopefully that fight happens. It's a shame we didn't get the Anthony Rumble versus John Jones fight. So hopefully this fight will happen. Overall, the card as a whole, at least from what I saw, I didn't see the entire card, but all the fights that I saw were pretty quick, and it was okay. I mean, what are you gonna do? They made money. They got the attention of the people, so it was a success in the fighters' eyes. So that's all I have to say about this. Please like and subscribe. That is it. I am out.